Does owning a gun make you different from those who don't own a gun when it comes to your voting preference in next year's election? Guns, guns, guns. About 35 to maybe 40% of Americans own a gun, depending on when we ask them. Gun ownership is not uniform across the country. Politically, it skews very Republican. In other words, Republicans much more likely than Democrats to own guns. It also skews to rural areas and down in the South. Politicians apparently think that those who own guns are an important voting constituency. Remember back to John Kerry, 2004, he made a special point to make sure that video showing him hunting was there in the campaign. This year, Mitt Romney, the Republican, has gotten in some trouble. He claimed he'd been a hunter all his life, and then some people looked into it, and it was not exactly clear how much hunting he had actually done. In the general election in November of 2008, we know that gun owners will tend to vote for the Republican candidate because gun owners tend to be Republican. Just to give you a flavor for this, look at the favorable ratings of the two leaders, Rudy Giuliani, the Republican, Hillary Clinton, the Democrat. These data are among gun owners only. Notice the big difference there. Gun owners much more positive about Rudy than they are about Hillary. Of more interest, I think, is to look at the difference between gun owners and non-gun owners within party. Let's look first at Republicans. Now, what we've done here is we've split out Republican gun owners from Republicans who are not gun owners and looked at their preference for their party's nominee. Well, Rudy Giuliani is at the top, but notice the difference here. He's a big city, New York City mayor, not known for being a hunter and what have you. There's a 9-point deficit for Rudy Giuliani. Gun owners less likely to support him than those who are not. Next in line, John McCain. He, of course, knows guns. He was a former military officer, but really no difference at all between gun owners and non-gun owners who are Republicans in support for McCain. Third on the list, Fred Thompson. Here we find a big difference. Look at this, an 11-point difference. Gun owners much more likely to say they would support Fred Thompson than non-gun owners. In fact, Fred Thompson's a pretty strong third place among gun owners. He's not among non-gun owners. Finally, what about Mitt Romney? He's the one, as I mentioned, who got in a little trouble when he was talking about his history of hunting. Not much difference at all between Republican gun owners and non-gun owners in support of Mitt Romney at this point. Let's look at the Democratic side of the ledger. These are Democratic gun owners versus Democrats who are not gun owners. Support for Hillary Clinton. Democrats who own guns a little less likely to support Senator Clinton. Same thing for Senator Obama. Those who own guns less likely to support him than those who do not. John Edwards, well, he's from a southern state, North Carolina, and sure enough, gun owners somewhat more likely to support John Edwards than Democrats who are not gun owners. Tomorrow on the Daily Briefing, join us for some more political insight. We'll be looking at whom Democrats who are women favor as opposed to male Democrats, and also we'll look at the Democratic race by race. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Editor-in-Chief of the Gallup poll with Democracy on Demand. Take the Daily Briefing with you. Search for Gallup at the iTunes Music Store.